that y'all missed us because we sure missed you. Look, watch, like, and subscribe to our channel at Sister Sis 1988, as well as follow us on all our social media platforms at Sister Sis 1988. Today we have a wonderful guest coming from way across the water. Let us introduce ourselves. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Calandra.
And we have today with us Mr.
Ayush Prakash.
Okay, and Mr. Prakash, where are you calling us from today?
Calling from Montreal, Quebec.
Yes, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, beautiful. So go ahead and let our audience get a small summary of who you are, and then we'll jump into these questions.
Sure. Well, it's great to be here.
Thank you.
I'm an Australian-born Indian-Canadian author, obviously based in Montreal, Quebec.
Mhm.
I have a keen impact on the social impact of technology for my generation. I'm 23, I'm a Gen Z, and so it's interesting how my generation, the digital natives, grew up with technology, how it changed their brains and their minds, the way they interact and see the world. And that's what a lot of my work is focused on.
Okay, great, 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 beautiful thing. And I'm excited to chime into this too because it is making such a big change, especially in the corporate world, career world, health field, everything. It's really
Every industry.
it's a big, big change. So, okay, Ayush, the first question is the positive impact. In what ways do you think technology has had the most profound positive impact on society, especially in terms of education, healthcare, and social connections?
Sure. It's a great question. It usually goes, it's like an under-exaggerated, under-talked about question. We usually talk about the negatives of technology. The biggest thing is connection, obviously. I'm able to access people in New Zealand within 3 seconds, which
Yeah.
is profound, but also very strange. Different time zones, different ways of thinking, different attitudes of life. In the social aspect, it's also expression. And so I'm able to build and create a platform, a service, art. I'm able to publicize it in a very strangely hyper exponential way. Just as one person, I'm not confided to my locality like in Montreal. I mean, look at what we're doing right now. I'm
Yeah.
able to express myself to people
Yeah.
who, if I had never visited Texas, I would have never met you.
Right.
And so that's very, very interesting. I believe in the questions, it was education and healthcare as well.
Mm.
In healthcare, I'm able to, obviously, it's not as efficient as going to a doctor or to a hospital, but I'm able to at least research certain things. If I'm suffering from a cold, if I see a little rash that doesn't look correct, I'm able to look up those things. Even with COVID, for example, I was able to instantly see what symptoms were and were not COVID,
Mm.
which was incredible. And we take it for granted because if the internet didn't exist and COVID was still going around, there would be so many lines,
Yeah,
filled.
it still be chaos.
It would
Yeah.
have been even more chaos,
Yeah.
right? Education is a really big one, and it's one that's very close to my heart because the amount of information that's available online. And I'll kind of caveat that because there's a lot of information, there's a lot of quantity, and that really gets lost in the quality. So we kind of have to, there's like that dichotomy there. But in terms of education, I can go online, I can learn anything about anything.
True.
I remember when I was 10, I just like started doing origami, and my parents saw me and they're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm doing origami." They're like, "Where did you learn that?" And I was just, the basic answer, internet. And they were looking at me like I was an alien. Like, how did you learn this? Like, who are you talking to, type of thing. And so that was always interesting. And obviously getting back to schooling, if I'm confused about something, go on YouTube, become an quasi-expert at it. And so these are all different but intriguing ways of technology really having an impact on our lives in a positive way, but also in a previously unprecedented way.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Also, the thing so our trade is nursing. We're both nurses. So it just amazes me now you can have your doctor's appointments on. I've did so many doctor's appointment on video, without even going online. I mean, going in is what I'm trying to say. You can do your doctor's appointments if it's not nothing that they need to do, labs or something like that. You can just push a button and have a doctor's appointment with your physician. So that's a big thing that's going.
Absolutely.
A lot of people are doing video call-ins for their doctor's appointment. So my second question would be the mental health part. With the rise of social media and digital platforms, what social or psychological challenges do you see impacting young adults today?
Oh,
And how should we address them?
this is a fun one. So I'll kind of, I guess the best place to start is the use of social media. And ever since, I guess, are you familiar with the Social Dilemma documentary at all by Tristan Harris that came out around 2018, 2020?
I'm not.
So, so,
No.
so in that, he was talking about how social media impacts minds in general. My focus is on younger minds, like between 10 and 20, 10
No.
and 25, but minds nonetheless. And with social media, what happens is you get, obviously, people know how it works and such. But what the second order effects of posting the best moments of your life are is that someone outside of the bubble starts looking at their feed in general, whether it's 100 people or 1,000 people, and all they see are the best moments of people's lives. And what that does to most people, because all of our lives are not everyday private jets and restaurants and going out and cruises and stuff. And what that effect has on people is just this massive reduction in confidence, self-esteem, obviously mental health, depression, anxiety. And when you're exposed to that once, sure, it feels bad. Like we, I, I don't really suffer from this, but I know people who look at like nice cars and get very jealous, very insecure of like, oh, why don't I have that? But when you're exposed to that for hours at a day, for decades, that does something to you. It makes you incredibly bitter. It makes you incredibly resentful of yourself and of those people. And I think a lot of the hatred in our society for, I mean, there are a lot of reasons to hate the elite, but a lot of the hatred in our society for people who have nicer things, or for people who have things that they don't have, it doesn't have to be luxury, just, I think that really stems from the mental health aspect. So that's social media, and just in the sense of self-esteem. When it comes to like social status, that's a big one because social media has kind of become our, as I was saying before, expression into society. I've interacted with so many people who ask me for my Instagram before my number, right? I don't really have Instagram, and so me saying, "Oh, I don't have IG," they're looking at me like, "Okay, are you a serial killer or something? Like, what's going on here?" But I purposely don't have social media. And what happens is that people look at the amount of followers they get, the amount of likes they get, the amount of comments, the amount of shares, the amount of views, the amount of subscribers as metrics of their social status.
Mm-hmm.
So what that does to people is that, I mean, we've all experienced posting on social media and that picture getting more or less likes, whatever digital metrics you care about. And what that does to people is it orients them towards posting more of whatever got the attention. And that's why so many social media accounts, so many influencers are posting the exact same thing. Instagram and Twitter has kind of become, not to be crass, but just like a bunch of naked people, because that's
Mm-hmm.
what, immediately clicks with men, especially. And you see this in a kind of very hyper-focused and explicit way.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people are interacting with this and they see the followers, the likes, the subscribers going down, then that also affects their self-esteem. What am I doing wrong? And they
Mm-hmm.
see social media and the reactions and interactions and whatever digital metrics that they're getting or not getting as expressions of themselves. And so social media has kind of become like this mask for people, this portal into society where I'm not necessarily just me, I'm me plus my Instagram account or
Yeah,
my
it's a
Snapchat.
big lie. A big lie. Self.
It's a massive lie, and to the point where people have been, so obsessed with Snapchat in particular, Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you can get filters. for your face. That there's this not new, but there's this kind of I don't want to say mental illness because it's not precise, but let's just say that to move on, this mental illness going around where particularly women are going under the knife, like getting surgery to look
Mm-hmm.
more like their Snapchat filters. It's called
Mm-hmm.
Snapchat dysmorphia if people want to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
And you see this, and immediately it's like, what is going on? But the reality is, and particularly for women, but obviously for men as well, that people think that person in the filter is better
Yes,
than who they are in real life.
yes,
And so, I mean, this is just a handful of examples, but there are so many, second, third, fourth order effects of just mental health.
yes, yes. You're
And
right.
you mentioned, you said you don't have any social media platforms. Is that what you said?
I have social media
Okay.
platforms. I don't use them personally. So for
Personally,
business and
okay.
stuff,
Okay.
100%, but for leisure and stuff, absolutely not.
Yeah, okay. That was my question. Yeah, because actually myself, I'm also a fellow entrepreneur, and so I use it for business purposes, but for personally, why? That's a no for me. So I was just gonna ask, how did you reach your audience if for business purposes? So okay, you clarified that. Got it. Thank you.
And also, you mentioned,
Snail mail.
yeah, you also had mentioned the thing about filters. A couple of years ago, we were celebrating with my sister her birthday, and we were at this restaurant, and I don't know how it came up, but it was some kind of app we were using where we were all taking these pictures,
Yeah.
me, Calandra, Toya, and we took these pictures. We looked like a totally different woman.
Yeah.
We look like Michael Jackson. We look like Janet Jackson.
Yeah,
All of us.
I'm just like, this should be against the law.
Oh
Yeah.
This
yeah.
should be against
Oh
the
yeah.
law.
Oh
You
yeah.
changed us, changed our hair, our lips. It changed us completely. So when that night, I remember thinking, okay, this is getting a little out of hand. Like
Okay.
seriously. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you're right about that. You're right about
So,
that.
so let me say one more thing about it getting out of hand because so this is not my understanding. This is from Tristan Harris, who's he runs the Center for Humane Technology. He's the director of the Social Dilemma documentary. I encourage everybody to watch that. He was talking about beautification filters. So obviously, whenever you're using Snapchat or whatever to make yourself look whatever 2% better, clearer skin, better complexion, all of these things, we all use the filters and stuff. But if I'm using a filter on Snapchat, I'm not using TikTok or Instagram by definition. So what does Instagram or Snapchat have to do to make me use their filters? Well, they turn the beautification filters on their application by 2%. Oh, so now I look better on Instagram or TikTok. So then Snapchat goes on and says, well, we need these people back. Let's turn up the beautification filters by 5%.
Mm.
And then they go back.
Just a
In-
competition. Just
Instagram,
fighting for people.
10%. Yep,
Yeah, fighting for people's habits. And it works.
right. Oh, it works.
Yeah.
100%.
It works. Because a lot of people that was the one night that I did the filter thing. Haven't did it ever since. Honestly, it really freaked me out. That's why I didn't want to mess with it. I'm a horror movie fan. I'm a Scorpio, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
really did freak us out. And we were kind of all looking. I think everybody at the table was a little bit freaked out. Like, it's really that serious that it could change your whole feature, which is why a lot of bad things are happening to people who are meeting online. People changing their whole face. You go in there looking for one person, and the person that walk up to you is not the photo you have in your phone.
It's catfish. They catfish.
Yeah, catfishing people. Yes, yes. The third question I have is, do you think that technology is making society more empathetic or more disconnected, especially when it comes to an in-person relationships? That's an easy question. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, what do you think?
In-person relationships, I'll have to asterisk because I would just be speaking from anecdotes rather than data.
Mm.
There was according to Pew Research Center, 64% of Americans did feel that social media had a negative impact on their country's predicament. And this is because, as everybody knows, when you go online to Instagram or Twitter or TikTok, it's all hatred. And I think we're comfortable with that understanding, but I don't think enough people have asked the question of why. We've kind of just been like, yeah, that's just how it is. And what happens is that social media really preys on our emotions, but it preys on the negative emotions because that's what gets you to like, comment, share, right?
Yeah.
It, using a very, specific example of a certain male influencer who will go unnamed, but the famous bald guy, if we can say it like that, when he's talking about women, for example, not everybody is just going to scroll past and say, "Oh, this is not real," or he's whatever doing whatever he needs to do, and they're not just going to scroll past like it's nothing. They're going to comment with rage.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is that when you comment, that tells the algorithm, oh, this post is getting a lot of engagement, push it out to more people so that we can keep them on the platform. Remember, time on site is a big metric for platforms. They're always trying to optimize. They're
Mm.
always trying to keep you on there because that's what creates dollars at the end of the day.
Right.
And so instead of me posting about golden retrievers, which that's really all I use YouTube for, golden retrievers and black cats. Um, but instead, I'm seeing politics. I'm seeing the most vicious stuff online. And that's what gets me to comment, to share it with people. Oh, look at what so and so said. Look at what so and so did. And then everybody else starts commenting and sharing on it. And we get this kind of like void of hatred where everybody is sharing stuff for the specific purpose of just hatred, of just violence, of just negativity.
Mhm.
And this is one of the really perverse incentives of social media, is that we haven't really figured out how to make it a positive thing. It's always focused on the differences between people. It's always focused on like the nuances and the arguments of, oh, you support side A1, I support side AB. We still support side A, but we're still different in between A and B. So now we have to fight immediately because I'm right, you're wrong by default. And it
Mm-hmm.
also creates this kind of it enhances your ego 100%, but it also creates this bubble that you live in because you end up not being able to really critically think about anything because it's all emotion at the end of the day. And so what happens is that, and this is precisely what's going on now. I don't want to bring up the US election or whatever, but we have people who are engaging with things in a very fast-paced manner. Remember, they're not taking 30 minutes to write the comment. They're just saying,
Mm-hmm.
whatever they want within 3 to 30 seconds.
Right.
And we see people develop this bubble of whatever their views are. And social media not only influences the bubble, like for example, I talked about golden retrievers and time on site. So YouTube has an incentive to keep showing me golden retriever videos. That's what it knows I like.
Right.
That's fine for animals and cute stuff.
Yeah.
But if it's for politics, if I like side A and YouTube knows that, or whatever social media, what would actually get me to stay on YouTube, do you think? More of side A or side B saying the most wild stuff? It's the latter, right?
Right.
And so you see people interacting with these digital artifacts online. Number one, that may not be even real.
True.
There's so much misinformation going around. But number two, they're interacting with the most hyper emotionally stimulating content. So it's not like the base stuff, it's the stuff that everybody knows is getting the most emotional engagement, the most views because of the way it stirs up controversy. And then you start predicating your understanding of whatever side you're against on those hyper emotional artifacts. And so you end up not being able to see base reality. You just see, not delusion, but you see this very contorted, very weird, very, very yucky side. Instead of being able to see what they were trying to say, you see the skewed version, and vice versa. Nobody understands your side because all they're seeing is the most hyper kind of
Whoever
like,
got likes.
yeah, whatever gets the likes, whatever gets the views,
whoever
whatever gets the subscribes,
Right.
whatever gets the TMZ articles written.
Right.
It's all of that.
But that kind of contradicts because like I'm not I have social media, but I'm not
Mhm.
big. And I don't know how to use it and the advantage as far as personally. Recently, I think about it, last year, I became a digital creator on Facebook, and I think I have whatever the limit is on the subscribers or whatever, but I don't really use it to my advantage. I'm not one of those people that Facebook is paying all this money to, because I
Mhm.
just learned how to manipulate it. But I do know when on certain posts, like the ones that you're describing, you have on there like report this post, remove this post, and things like that. So how does that conflict? Even though I know you're saying that that negativity and that hate, it's like wow for the numbers when they're getting all these likes and it's being shared continuously. Like if the ad or the video is reported, how does AI play in? Because it sounds like maybe even if you report it, it may not be removed the
Oh yeah.
way you're describing it. Okay. Okay.
Like, why would Instagram, for example, remove something that's getting millions of views every 10 minutes because a couple people have reported it? You
Okay.
know,
Okay.
it's like they have no incentive for that. They can remove it afterwards, after they've made all their money from ads and stuff. They can be like, yeah, yeah, we took care of it. We took care of it. But the damage is already done.
Right, right,
Right,
right.
true.
It's
Because
it's like,
I've done that, but I've reported. I do it mainly so I won't have to see it in my news feed. You know, I
right,
report things. And most of the time, I just block people, whoever shared it. I
right.
really, but
It's healthy.
yeah, but I still see something like it. And then it's a lot of people, the joke is, oh, the CIA is listening to us. You can Google something. Like here the other day, I Googled a maxi dress and the color of the maxi dress. Now, every time I pick up my phone and I go to a website or I go to social media, I see all these different people with these different, stores online with that color dress, that type of dress. I was just like, what is it called? Is it cookies? Is that what cookies is doing? When you're
I,
looking.
Yeah, I think it's similar to that, but it's
Oh,
also even more sinister. I don't mean to freak you out. So it's not just your phone is listening to you. I think everybody knows the NSA debacle that happened. But it's also all of these social media sites, all of these third-party advertisers, who those social media sites, when they collect your data, they're all selling it to
Mhm.
those third-party
Right.
yeah,
advertisers.
Mhm.
We
yeah.
get none of the cut. We get all of the detriment. But what
Mhm.
happens is that, and this is again Tristan Harris's example, is like the voodoo doll of you go online to Facebook or TikTok, for example. I think TikTok is a really good example because it's one of the only platforms that you click one button and you're in without even signing up, right? You swipe 3 or 4 times and it knows precisely what you like, what you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
What is happening in the background, not technically, but just metaphorically, is they're creating this voodoo doll profile of you. So for
Mm.
me, it would say, I'm in Montreal, I'm probably male, I'm 23, all of these things. So it already has these kind of figments, my IP and all of these things, a certain part of Montreal. And as I'm swiping, it's saying, oh, he doesn't like, I don't know, he doesn't like TikTok dances. Don't recommend him that. Oh, he actually spent 3 more seconds watching the video with the dog. That's interesting. What if we do another video of a dog? Oh, he
Mhm.
liked this video. Oh, okay, what if we show him a picture of a cat? Oh, interesting. He liked that too. What if we showed him, all of these other things? Similar, look, what precisely are his interests and non-interests? What if we showed him a picture of a really hot influencer with a golden retriever? Oh, he stayed on even longer. Okay, so
Mhm.
let's keep showing him women, dogs, cats, all of these things. And then maybe we show him a TikTok influencer again. But this time the TikTok influencer is with a dog. Oh, now we have this entire profile. We have this entire kind of, in a literal sense, a voodoo doll that we can pick and point what content to throw at him to see what sticks in a literal sense, what sticks and what doesn't. And so that's one of the reasons why I just don't have social media because I don't want to be influenced by it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this one is a big one. Like I say, as far as being an entrepreneur, owning businesses, hiring process, when you're trying to hire employees, I honestly skipped this AI thing. I thought I was going to have to use it for this project I have going, but I'll ask you for job displacement with AI.
Oh yeah.
How should society prepare for the potential job displacement caused by AI and the automation? And what roles will humans play? when an AI driven economy is starting to build up.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I really wrote my book and published it as fast as I did. It's one thing I'm very passionate about, and it's one thing that I'm really terrified about. I'm not going to sugarcoat it or anything, but there's going to be a great amount of people without jobs.
Yes, I
Just
already
that's
Fortunately.
see it.
it's we just have to contend with that right now. And that's why I think that mainstream news or whoever have done a very poor job at really getting people accustomed to that reality. So I'm just going to throw a bunch of facts at you because I think these really hit home. So in 2024, according to Resume Builder, 44% of companies who use AI say employees will definitely or probably be laid off due to the use of this technology. By
That's a
2025,
that's a big
80% of retail executives expect their businesses to adopt AI automation. By 2030, a McKinsey Global Institute report concluded that 75 to 375 million jobs could be impacted due to AI. And for those earning an hourly wage of less than $20, there's an 83% chance that their job will be automated within the next decade. So, whatever, statistics, I'm reading off of them. They don't really tell you the full story. I came up with this problem called the job saturation problem, which we're seeing right now. Again, not to toot my own horn. Honestly, with the automation stuff, I hope I'm wrong. I hope like this podcast, people are commenting like this guy was totally wrong. He's an idiot. Like none of this came true. I hope. Fingers crossed. But this is just what I've found. So the job saturation problem is when you are automated and you're not able to get into another job because there is so much saturation for that job. So for example, we saw junior level programmers start getting automated because of generative AI. So if I'm a junior programmer, I'm kind of looking at being laid off like, oh, okay, well, I have these certain skills. Programming was supposed to be like this pinnacle for the job market. So I'm looking at all of these other jobs and I'm saying, okay, well, I can transition into X, Y, or Z. But there's also a massive amount of competition from everybody else that was automated, all the other junior level programmers that were automated. That's number one. Number two is that you're not just going to hire the bottom of the barrel. You're going to hire the 1% or the 0.1% of people who have those skills and such. And so what we're seeing is that a lot of the jobs are becoming so saturated because of automation that there is more incentive to automate those particular jobs as well. And so what we're going to see is this kind of like pyramid of people at the bottom getting automated, trying to transition into the top. But then that above level becomes automated as well. So more and more people are going to be trying to climb that ladder or climb that pyramid to no avail. They're just not going to be able because so many people are trying to get the same amount of skills, the same interpersonal skills, the same technical skills. There's no way to differentiate yourself. And so people say, oh, well, it's like when people say this, and I get very annoyed because when people say what I'm about to say, it's clear they haven't done a lick of research. They're just repeating or regurgitating what other people are saying. But they usually say something to the tune of, but with AI, more jobs will be created. And they usually refer to the PC, the PC destroyed 3 million jobs, but created 19 million in the process. The Industrial Revolution destroyed jobs, but jobs were still created. The economy was still functioning because more jobs were able to be created around machines. This is bogus. It's not true. It takes like 30 seconds of thinking because like in the sense of creating jobs, how do I create a job that I'm able to have junior level people transition into? Like, how do I do that? So you're saying that the highly skilled and technical jobs are going to be easily transitionable? That doesn't make any sense. It's like, okay, yeah, more jobs will be created. Sure. Are they going to be accessible to those that are automated? No. So you can't just say that, oh, don't worry about AI, don't worry about automation because more jobs will come, because there's no basis for that. Jobs will be created, absolutely, like an algorithm cleanser, for example, cleaning up the training data, which is a technical term, whatever. Am I going to be able to do that if I'm automated from an Amazon warehouse? No. So then, if I'm not able to transition into those jobs are not available. Those jobs don't exist. Am I able to be a neurosurgeon right now? No, I haven't done the skill. I haven't gone to school. I'm not prepared for it. So is that job available to me? No.
So
And
let me ask you
anyway,
this then. From what I'm understanding, this is recently within the last week that I found out with AI, because me and some other nurses at work are doing a lot of research on it. So the jobs that people are applying to, so you got your Career Builder, Monster, ZipRecruiter, and Indeed.
right.
Most of those companies that are on there are not, it's not like a person that's reviewing resumes. They have some type of AI. So you can have what they're looking for, but if their AI algorithm doesn't pick your resume,
Mhm.
it's just, oh well, you're just getting this email that we're moving on to the next client. That's what people are being bothered about, because there's a lot of people that's looking for extra work because the holidays are coming up. And, a lot of these companies are, stringing along and dissecting overtime and things like that. So people are looking for part time jobs. And so a lot of the nurses were trying to come together and be like, why am I, it used to be like nothing to get a job for a nurse.
Mhm.
It was nothing. You applied and most likely you get your call and things like that. It's not like that anymore out here in the nursing field. They've got this resume reader. Somebody gave me a name for one of the programs, but a lot of companies, a lot of hospitals, a lot of doctors' offices, a lot of surgery centers are using it. A lot of rehabs and things like that. Even home health companies are using this AI robot so that when a person, whoever is in charge of the hiring, all they do is just go to their email or go to their system and just look at the resumes that the AI approved to get to them.
Mhm.
They are not visibly reading a resume and missing, really, to me, in my opinion, you're missing good employees, a possible
Oh yeah.
good worker, because you're depending on this computer to tell you, oh, this is the perfect person. Here's the resume you're looking for. That's my thing. I don't know about the jobs being not there, because those for Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Career Builder and Monster, it shows you that jobs are there, but people are not being chosen for them because everybody is using this resume reader. That's my concern when it comes to the AI. Not as far as
So
people are like jobs are not out there, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
so let me add to that concern, because who is creating these resume
I
readers?
have no
Like,
idea who's creating this.
so
Who's doing this?
who are these resume AI readers basing the best candidates on? We're not really given those answers. So I know of one, not study, but one kind of anecdotal foray into this. It was an Indian guy with a really traditional name, and he
Mhm.
was applying to places in New York, I believe, and he was really getting no calls back.
Right.
So he switched his name to John Smith. And how many calls did he get back? More than he was getting before with the Indian name. And so what we're seeing is that the best resumes that these AI readers are trained on are based off of, and this is not like political or anything, this is just factual. White males based in probably America, aged 18 to 45. That's kind of like the Goldilocks zone for these readers. And so if you operate anywhere outside of this, it's very unlikely that you get the callback unless a human is actually doing it and not
Correct.
the
Correct.
AI.
Right.
Um, even to the point, this is a very, very old example, but Amazon had built this AI to hire people in this exact way, and the AI trained itself to bias itself against women. How did it do that? It kept seeing male resumes and with no women really in the training data. Oh, sorry, with no women applying as much as the males were applying, it kind of biased itself to males to the point where if a woman had women's chess club captain, for instance, the program would immediately like exit out because it was like, well, these are not what the best candidates before had, so why would I, and so we're seeing this, and this is okay when it comes to hiring and such. But when you think of like healthcare, when you think of autonomous vehicles, do we want biased artificial intelligence in any of these fields? Like it's horrible when it comes to just getting a job, right? It's already difficult. Having all of these technological barriers makes it just almost impossible. But let's say if I'm a, I don't know, an Indian woman, and I'm not really represented in the training data when it comes to autonomous vehicles, if it doesn't recognize me as a human because I'm not in the training data, it doesn't recognize me as a human. And so go ahead.
So the people, let me ask you this. So the people that are using the AI, are they putting in what they're looking for?
Yes,
So
I can even speak to that honestly, just as an employer. So I'm sitting here listening to you guys and just thinking, because actually to me, I think for a business owner's perspective is really truly beneficial, because what ends up happening, just say we ran an ad that was week before last, right? And so I was telling my assistant like what she needed to place on the ad, so that way it would cut down on the amount of resumes that we needed to look into, because that consumes our time. Just to be honest, like just give me 4 or 5 resumes to look at versus 120, because that's honestly what would happen. So we do train it. Like when you're using it from a business standpoint, I think AI is really awesome. From a consumer standpoint, like just if I'm the job seeker, I can kind of see how that would be possibly to a disadvantage. But if you only have one position that you're hiring for anyway, you're only going to hire one person anyway. So would you have gotten a job, also would you really have gotten a job if they were using AI or not using AI? That's the way to look at it. But to me, I think it's really beneficial. But to answer the question that you were asking, Jamie, we do train it. We train it and tell it the individuals that we're looking for. So it'll automatically reject those individuals that don't qualify and don't have the qualifications for the job, which makes it easier for us, as the employer, though.
So that's understandable, which like I say, I just hired 3 for the real estate. I just hired 3 cold callers. Luckily I didn't have to do that. This is people that I looked them up. We did the research. I did some referrals, listened to some people, and I used them. I didn't have to do all of that. And I'm actually grateful that I was able to go ahead and work with them, and I didn't have to send them anything like that. Like, okay, I trust somebody else. But in regards to what we were talking about as far as the nursing is concerned, these are people that's applying to 30 and 40 jobs within a 2 and 3 month span, and nobody is calling them back. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
That's the issue. I can understand, like, it is going to be jobs that, oh, we only need this one person. And I'm going to agree too. Yeah, I don't want to look at 100 resumes. I definitely don't. Give me 4 or 5. But when it comes to the job seeker who is applying to multiple jobs, this person is applying, like the example that he just gave. Okay, this Indian guy had applied to multiple jobs and nobody was calling him back. That's when the AI becomes an issue, when you're applying over and over and over again to these hundreds and different of companies. Like I said, you still got all these platforms. You got Indeed, Monster, Career Builder, and all these people and all these different companies, and nobody is calling you back. I think a nurse told me that she's been keeping account. She's applied to 42 jobs. This is a nurse. She doesn't have a bachelor's, but she has an RN. Hasn't got any phone call back. Hasn't got any phone calls back. Just keep getting rejected. The little email that they send you and that they've chosen another candidate. That's what she keeps getting back. And to me, that is not what it used to be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years ago for an RN who was looking for a job. If you left a job, quit a job, or whatever, you got fired or whatever, you'd have your job within a week or 2. It's just not like that anymore since AI has been introduced now into healthcare. It's just not like that anymore. I'm just like, that is really bad to have such a certification, a license that's so needed. A nurse is needed. We have a nurse shortage, and this woman applies to 42 jobs and hasn't gotten any. I think that's something to think about. I think that's
Absolutely.
yeah. So until next time.
There's strength in sisterhood and support in sisterhood. Bye.
Bye.